Okay guys, what we are actually going to be doing is we are going to be looking at our genes and chromosomes kiosk, and I am going to be recording the benchmark for that chromosome. Alright, here, alright, you've got chromosomes. This is actually a microscopic image. And notice our chromosomes are in the shape, oops, my color's not showing up. The shape where we have one and another, alright, these would be chromatid, chromatid, chromosome. They're attached at the centromere, but obviously if they're in this shape, we're obviously in cell divisions. This cell, all right, the chromosomes in this cell, they're taking part of cell division. If you really wanted to look at all the different genetic information that's on all of our chromosomes, it's possible for you to click on the hyperlink and look. And then we're going to talk about how we classify our cells. So we can classify our cells based on chromosome number. We have two types. We've got somatic cells. For those of you that like to have the root, soma, all right, typically refers to body. All right, a somatic cell, a body cell, is anything other than a sperm or an egg cell. All right, so like the idea that we're talking about muscle cells, bone cells, nerve cells, skin cells, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All right, a somatic cell has two copies of 23, all right? So if you've got 23 chromosomes and you've got two sets, all right, two number ones, two number twos, two number threes, two number fours, all the way down to two number 23s, you should have a total of 46, all right? So you should have 46 total, all right? These 23 chromosomes that you have, they're different, all right? Your two number ones should be similar, but they shouldn't be identical. Your two number twos, similar, but not identical. And again, number one should be substantially different from number two, because it's important for you to have all of this different information, right, in order for you to have a complete set of genetic material. So you don't want to be missing a number one. You don't want to be missing a number 9. It's important for you to have all of your chromosomes. Here's a picture of some different types of somatic cells, right? Our second type of cell that we can classify based on numbers of chromosomes are gametes, right? Typically, you would just call them sex cells. Most commonly, an egg cell for a female, a sperm cell for a male. Another hyperlink that you can actually watch a video. In the case of gametes, gametes only have one set of 23. So 23 total. One number 1, one number 2, one number 3, all the way down to one number 23. The reason for that is because if you have an egg that has 23 and you have a sperm that has 23 chromosomes, when they join together, you should have two sets of 23 or 46 total, which is what your somatic cells should have, which is what the majority of your body cells should have. Right? So it's important for sperm cells and egg cells to only have half the number of chromosomes so that that number can be rejoined back up to 46 when fertilization takes place, right? When the two sex cells join together. Haploid and diploid, these are two words that we can use to actually describe our types of cells. Haploid, right? Haploid means that you only have one set of chromosomes. So in the case of humans, it's 23. All right? Gametes are haploid. Gametes are the only cell that should be haploid. Diploid, we should know that di refers to two. So in this case, you're going to have two sets of chromosomes. So you're going to have pairing, all right? 23 pairs. Pair of 23. That's supposed to say 23 pairs. Sorry. That is definitely a typo, and a bad one. 23 pairs. Somatic cells should be diploid. Your somatic cells, a blood cell is never going to join another blood cell. A nerve cell is never going to join another nerve cell. They're not looking to join another cell. They're already at their full genetic information. They don't have another set of genetic material to join. N is the symbol that we typically use to represent one set of chromosomes, right? So in the case of an egg cell should have N, which would be one set, in our case 23. A sperm cell should have N, in our case humans, again 23. When they come together and join, the resulting cell should have 2N, all right, or 2 times 23, which is 46, right? So haploid is N, diploid is 2N, which should mean that gametes are haploid and represented by N, where a somatic cell is diploid and represented by 2N. Other interesting thing to know is that organisms are classified based on their N number, right? Part of what makes a human human is that we have 23 different pairs of chromosomes. And those 23 pairs have certain genes that make us human, right? So it's kind of a matter of our base sequence and how that base sequence is arranged and how it's grouped up into these chromosomes. So a chimp, which we're supposed to be closely related to, has 24. All right, its N number, its haploid number is 24, which means that a typical cell for a chimpanzee should have 48. All right, their 2N, their somatic cells, should have 48. This hyperlink here will actually talk to you about why it is we're believed to be so closely linked to chimpanzees and how we came across the genetic difference of 48 total chromosomes versus our 46 total chromosomes. A walrus, 32, which means their typical cells have 64. A plant, field horsetail, 216, which means that their typical cells have 432. Obviously, not based at all on size, but more on the complexity of the organism and what's going on the inside chemically. So the idea of why those haploid cells are supposed to be half as many chromosomes is, like I already said, right? That the 23 from mom's egg cell and the 23 from dad's sperm cell should join together, right? So we should have 23 in the sperm cell, 23 in the egg cell, and a zygote, all right, that zygote is the very first cell that an organism starts out as. So that zygote should have 46 chromosomes. All right? Zygote, fertilized egg. It's the very first cell. All right? And fertilization is going to be the process of the egg cell and the sperm cell joining together. After that zygote, that one teeny tiny cell, starts to divide, 1 will become 2, 2 will become 4, 4 will become 8. All right? Getting the idea? Everything's just going to keep dividing in order for the organism to grow and develop until it gets to the point where that massive cell starts to become specialized cells, which we talked about. All right? These would be stem cells. The zygote would be like the very first stem cell. Right? At this point, all of these cells, they're unspecialized. Right? Stem cells. Right? Our zygote is going to be our very first stem cell, what we first start out as before they get jobs, before they become specialized. Right? So, 2 haploid gametes, all right? Haploid would be N. So an N plus an N, all right, 1 haploid gamete plus 1 haploid gamete will give you diploid, which is 2N zygote. And that's how you wind up with a full set of chromosomes.